All right, what's going on, Chooms? How you all doing? What up, what up? John the Wise here. Got another live chat for you guys. I got a new camera, so we'll see if it's better. It's supposed to be better. Oh, it moves. Oh, it moves with me. Isn't that cool? Yeah, so new camera, new thing. Gamer on Games. What's up, Choom? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Hope you guys have had a wonderful week. We're here to talk about some more cyberpunk stuff. There's some stuff on the internet that I've seen that I'm happy to take a look at and talk about. I'm still reading Ray Spartmoss's Brainware Blowout. I'll have a video on that soon. But before we talk about all the cool stuff that's going on the internet, let me talk about one other thing that's going on right now. And that is a sale on cyberpunk items. Okay, check this out. If you guys go to the link in the description, it's loadeddicegames.shop. I'll put it in the chat. Loadeddicegames.shop. All right, this is my local gaming store, and if you guys go there and check out the cyberpunk collection, you will see that there's a giant sale going on right now. So, and if you use the promo code JohnJohn at checkout, you'll get an additional 10% off of whatever you're seeing here. So you could potentially get stuff like this for around 30 bucks, which is really cool. They got the Trauma Team, they got the Lawman with Maximum Mic right here. They got some cool stuff that they wanted to give out as a sale to my viewers. So I'm just letting you guys know, loadeddicegames.shop. If you've been wanting to buy some Cyberpunk minis, right now is the time to go and do it. These are official Cyberpunk minis from Monster Fight Club, not the knockoff stuff, the real deal. The real deal, all right? So there's that. And yeah, the old 2020 book, I'm loving it, actually. I'm actually really loving it. But let's get straight to it. How about that? Let's start talking about what we want to talk about. Let me just close this thing here. Give me 1 second. Behind the scenes. Okay. All right. Wish I was playing in person so I could use these things. Yeah, I get it. You know, it's fun to have and paint them anyway, in my opinion. Just because it's fun. I like having minis. Let me open this window a little bit. Hold on. Get some light in here. Even though it's raining, so you're not going to get much light. This camera is like moving with me. Where are you going? It's following me, dude. It's pretty cool. Playing in person is special, by the way. I really enjoy playing in person. It's becoming the one thing that I need to do. You know, I like playing on a virtual tabletop as well with my buddies, but there's something about the social interaction of being there with people that I'm really enjoying. All right, we got a Choom that needs our help, so of course we're going to help them out. Am I doing something wrong, this Choom asks. This is from Real American 97 5 days ago on the Cyberpunk Red subreddit, asking, so I'm a first-time game master for Red. The group I'm running is a bunch of good friends of mine, and we started playing about May of last year, and we've got the most part been having fun. Okay. For the most part, they've been having fun, I guess is what they're trying to say. The only problem is the group doesn't seem to actually be improving as a team. They can handle simple jobs, but every time I hand them something a bit challenging, they always flounder. A handful of goon gang boosters, no problem. But if one of them gets too hurt, the entire group peels out of the fight and essentially fails the gig. It's not that I've not been generous with eddies and improvement points, it's that they never seem to upgrade. They do their side hustle. They're immediately asking me about the next job. One player... all right, we got no punctuation here, guys, so just give me a chance here, okay? But if one of them gets too hurt, the entire blah, blah, okay. They never seem to upgrade. They do their side hustle. They immediately ask me about the next job. One player outright said, we can't upgrade without improvement points. Since we've started playing, they've earned roughly 1,000 IP each. That's a lot, dude. And this particular player is not using any cybernetics. Still using his starter gun, and he's a nomad, so all his upgrades go into his cars. Anyways... The most he does is he buys like the battle glove or the eyeglasses that can hold cybernetics, but he himself isn't using any. As a side note, I composed a complete document of all the guns and chrome available to buy, and I made a few homebrewed pieces from older editions, so there's plenty out there to pick from. They're just not using it. Long story short, am I not giving them enough, or are they not properly utilizing the materials they have? All right, this is a great question, okay? This is a question about why the players are not doing what they need to advance the story. And usually when something like that happens, I don't really blame the players. I don't blame anybody. That it's just, you know, maybe the game master's not picking up on something, but for sure the players are just doing whatever they want to have fun, okay? If they feel like their character is about to die and they're running away, I commend that kind of stuff, actually. I think that's a great idea. All right? Running away is one of the greatest strategies that you can have as a player in Cyberpunk. So I definitely recommend that you take a look at your players, you talk to them, and you see what what do they want out of this game. Because if they're running away every time there's a challenge, then maybe the challenge isn't what they think it's going to be. And maybe failing the gig, has there been consequences to that? You know, because fixers don't want to work with people that don't have a good reputation of getting jobs done. If you're not getting the jobs done, fixers don't want to work with you, okay? So that's a whole thing in itself. It's the players learning that, hey, we better do something here or else we're going to fall out of favor with the fixers that we're working with. Secondly, writing a complete document of all the guns and chromes available to buy is not something your players are going to look at, all right? It's pulling teeth just to get your players to read the core rulebook, okay? And then even then, they're not really reading the core rulebook. It's because you don't really have to read that much of the core rulebook to be able to play the game. I played Warhammer Wrath and Glory, and I read maybe like 5% of the core rulebook, and I got through a session just fine. Why? Because the VTT took care of most of the calculation, and the game master knew all the rules and all the things that he needed to know, so we can actually play the game. So anytime I had a question, the game master was like, I can take care of it. So if I'm only reading 5% of the core rulebook as a player, I'm going to read 0% of whatever document you give me, okay? So what I'm trying to say is I don't think you shouldn't make those kinds of documents. I just think the expectation shouldn't be that your players are actually going to read these documents or anything that you give them. I personally recommend that you just give them one or two options in game and they pick from the one or two options. You're like, hey, this character could really use an assault rifle. They haven't asked for one, but I see them struggling in combat when everybody else is doing well. So why don't I present them with an assault rifle and see if they even want it? If they don't want it, then okay, they don't want it. You know what I mean? But at least I can say that I presented it to them. Or and make it in a cool way, make it in a fun way. They open up a box, there's a military box labeled Militech on it, and it says classified, do not open, and they have to do a skill check to open it. They open it, and it's this beautiful, pristine, excellent quality assault rifle. You know what I mean? Then they worked for it, they got it, they earned it, and you did present it to them, but you didn't just give it to them. They had to work for it, they had to understand it, they still have to get ammunition, they have to understand how it works, they have to read a manual, they got to do library search, all those things. It makes the weapon more important, you know? In chat, we got to hear, I got to play at a table recently. It was one of the best sessions I've had recently. Oh, nice, that's awesome. Yeah, playing in person is the way to go. I got a weird setup. I play IRL, but we don't have room to do full table, so we use VTT, but are all in the same room. That's fine. That's actually the best of both worlds right there, because you get to interact with each other on a personal basis, but at the same time, you don't have to do all the crazy calculations and stuff. So I think that's a great idea. That's actually might be the best way to do it. Gamers on games, that's our boy. Awesome, that sounds too generous. Sounds like some gentle GM prodding would be helpful here. Yeah, don't have XYZ upgrade. Worked for Monty Python, rep penalty really changed things. Yeah, that's how I agree. A rep penalty for sure, and maybe a fixer needed the gig to go through. They fail, so the fixer takes it personal and sends some hit squads after them. Yeah, just let them know that it's not okay to fail. You know what I mean? And you're not really going to get any work. And then when it comes to negotiations with future fixers, they have to know that failure, you got to risk it for the biscuit. Running away when somebody gets hurt, that's just not going to work, you know? And that will motivate them to be like, hey, you know what? We do need to upgrade. I think the problem is they don't know what kind of upgrades they can get. And making a document and giving them a document and saying do homework is not going to work. It's just really not going to work. The best way to do it is to actually interact with folks and tell them like, hey, you could use a linear frame, or you know what, this cyber arm with this option could really help you in combat or help you in a social situation. And you present it to them as the game master. You're the one that has the knowledge, you know? Also, we went past this, but 1,000 IP is so much, dude. You can improve so much with 1,000 IP. Whenever I'm making like when one of my character or players is like, hey, I want to make a new character, but I want to be on par with the other players, I give them a bunch of money and I give them 500 IP. Okay, so they've earned double the amount that I give to a player that has a veteran character. You know what I mean? So 1,000 IP is more than enough. What it seems like is they're not reading the book, which maybe that's some kind of communication you can throw at them. Be like, look, you guys don't have to read all of the book. Just read this part, and like point them in the direction of where they need to read. Read about the skills, read about IP, okay? And then you take care of the items and stuff like that. Because listen, as a game master, it behooves you to read the entire core rulebook. And guess what? Even as a game master, you might not read the entire core rulebook. There's just so much in there. There's too much information, okay? You might gloss over some of the cyberware options because you're like, okay, I get it. There's cyberware options, okay? I'm not going to retain all this information. So instead, you just come back whenever that's relevant in your campaign and you go like, okay, now let me look at those cyberware options because my players are at a spot where they could use cool upgrades. So let me see what kind of stuff I could give them. You know what I mean? So that's definitely my advice. Jin says, I think the pure Ganic person is okay if that's in line with their character. I agree. Between the gloves, glasses, and I think there's a headset to get audio, you can get a lot of cyberware. Yeah, I think, and I actually think that's interesting too. Kyle says, a shady figure could approach them about their failed gigs, offering them some sweet gear. Problem is the shit is hot and someone is going to come after that. Yeah, see, you're making lemonade out of lemons, basically, when you're doing stuff like that. As someone who has a game where everyone is rank 7 in their main role and like rank 2 to 3 in a second, 1,000 IP goes a long way. Yeah, dude, that's insane. They're trying to help the crew out. Yeah, I like that. Let's see what the comments say. First comment, I'm going to put me on your side because 1,000 IP is more than enough to take you from shooting 6 to 10. And you'll still have IP left. Exactly. Your shoulder arms will be a 10, you know? Eddies, I don't know how much. If you were generous with IP, I don't see why you wouldn't be with Eddies. I agree. So it looks like they're not utilizing the materials they have. I'm going to be devil on your shoulder and says to you, if they fail important gigs, start making them pariahs. What use is a mercenary who can't do work? We all agree with that. Fixers have to put face because the crew they select failed, therefore they failed. Have to put face. I don't know what that means, but I get the point is the fixers can't have people working for them that are always failing. If they go down the path of getting out of gigs too much, no one is going to contract them. You made a document with guns and chrome. It's they're not utilizing them. It's on them. Fuck, I mean, are they not even buying grenades, special ammo, or going to a techie upgrade their stuff? All right. Basically agreed with everything we have to say. Let's see what OP says here. Basic ammo, they've used grenades a couple times, but in all the gigs they've used grenades once. The group as a whole is probably sitting on about 40,000 eddies from their jobs. At this point, they've made 2 fixers upset with them for screwing up a job. So, okay, they are implementing the fixers being upset, some kind of consequences, giving them all kinds of money, all kinds of IP. So obviously disconnecting here is they don't know what they can use all this stuff for. And assuming that they're just going to read the book and figure out what they want is not always going to work out. In my opinion, in my experience, whenever I've had a group, there's like 2 or 3 people, maybe even one person that's like, I know exactly what I'm going to do with all my money. I've been saving up. I have a plan. I've theory crafted this character down. So as soon as I have enough IP and money, they're going to be the best martial artist in the world. Okay. They figured it out. They're reading the books. They're reading the DLCs. They're private messaging you. Hey, can we use this DLC? Can I use that DLC? Can I use this homebrew item from 2020? They got a plan. Okay. Those players you don't have to worry about. You don't have to send them any documents. Okay. But the people that are unsure about what to get, you just have to talk to them, have a conversation with them. What do you see with this character? What's your vision with this character? What is this character supposed to do? In combat, how do they handle themselves? Okay, if we can't find an item in the book, let's make one. Let's homebrew one. And let's make a fun adventure on how you're going to find it. Maybe you work with a fixer that's going to give you the thing that you want on top of the money. And now it's like, dude, I don't want to run away. I know that one of you is hurt, but I really want that cyber arm, okay? That experimental cyber arm from Arasaka. I want it, okay? So let's just risk it and let's go in. Failure is not an option, okay? So that's how you can do it, in my opinion. How did they make that much from failed gigs? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Maybe looting. I don't usually like looting in Cyberpunk. I think it's kind of lame unless there's like a special item that you're looting, but like generalized loot like it's Diablo, it just doesn't work in RPGs in my opinion. I know that D&D has a whole system with like copper and silver and gold and gems and the different gemstones, and I've never wanted to mess with that stuff. It's just bookkeeping, and I don't really care about it. You know what I mean? Unless it's being done automatically. If it's automated, that's a different thing, you know? I wonder if some people are saving up for cars. I don't see how they can sit on that much money. It doesn't make sense to go for a car when you have a nomad in the group, so I don't think so. So, yeah, I think this is a disconnect with the players and the game master. The game master has an expectation that the players are reading the material, and that's just not the case, and they just don't know what they're supposed to get, all right? And maybe they don't care for the kind of gigs that you're throwing at them. That's another thing. All right, this is from another game master. I have a tendency to be really harsh when talking to other GMs, so I'm going to do my best to be nice here. Oh, great. Your friends sound like weenies who are way attached to their characters and can't fathom possibly losing one of them or doing anything drastic out of necessity. I don't necessarily think that's true. By the sound of how much IP you've given them, I imagine a fair amount of money, and the fact that they're your good friends, you're likely enabling their weeniness by not having consequences for failing jobs. All right, I know I'm not going to agree with this person, but let's keep going. It's not that you're not giving them enough. It's that there's no reason for them to ever risk anything because they're fine no matter what. When you're the GM, you're not the player's enemy, but you're also not their friend. Your job is to make the game fun, interesting, and challenging, and help make it a good story. I agree with that. Look at it this way. Your friends are your friends, but their characters are not. Jesus Christ. You're not the enemy, but your players' characters are your enemy. Here's my suggestion. All right, here we go. Ask yourself some questions. They keep failing jobs. Who's hiring them? Why does these people keep hiring them? If they keep bailing on jobs, would you keep hiring, say, a plumber who shows up, sees the leaky pipes, and then says ew and leaves? Well, we already saw in another post that they already pissed off a few fixers, and we do agree with this point that if somebody keeps failing, they wouldn't be hired again. So definitely, like, if you're working with an S-grade fixer, if you fail the job, you've now been demoted to using an A-grade fixer, down to a B, and then you might even jump all the way to D and skip C, because even the C-list guys are like, I don't want to work with these dudes. They're gonks. You know what I mean? So the fixers that they work with, the pool is diminishing in the quality. By now, they have a reputation for being flaky, The street should see them as weak and act accordingly. Jesus Christ, some weak. Other edge runners laugh at them. Reputable fixers should be turning up their noses at them. Let them spiral into destitution from lack of frequent, well-paid work. It'll give them a chance at a redemption arc where they harden the fuck up. Okay, chill out, dude. This is like Sigma male talk. So they're saying make the game unfun for them as a punishment, and then maybe they'll decide to have fun. When you literally just said right here, your job is to make the game fun and interesting and challenging and help make it a good story. What part of this is fun? What part of this is fun? Being ridiculed, laughed at, and spiraling into destitution from lack of frequent, well-paid work? It doesn't seem... That's not fun. You're punishing them because they don't know how to upgrade their characters. If they're running away from combat, that doesn't mean they're weenies, okay? It's called self-preservation. Sometimes retreating is a tactic that's used in the military. It doesn't necessarily mean that the military using it are a military of weenies, okay? It's just fighting another day, living to fight another day, or fighting when you have a better advantage and you're at a disadvantage. Fighting out of an ambush, does that make you a weenie? Running away from an ambush? So anyway, maybe an edge runner who sees them floundering gives them some tips on not being weenies if they need that help, you know. Yeah, so I don't agree at all with anything this person said. Not at all, but most of the things they said I don't agree with. I think my original point that there's a disconnect between the information that the players have and what the GM has is true. I think that the players just don't know how to upgrade their characters. They don't know what they need. They don't know what it is that will make their characters powerful or be able to handle a combat situation. And you just have to work with them, you know, and talk to them and see what's going on. There's obviously a disconnect here. I recently got back into Cyberpunk Red. At first, my team was going crazy on looting every last gun. I started making some of them broken and such, like on the video game. Yeah, exactly. That's, you know, you just had a gunfight with a bunch of boosters. Like, all right, I loot their gun. All right, their gun is broken, dude. You shot it. It has bullet holes in it. You know what I mean? Now it's only, oh, that person has a shotgun with a tech upgrade. Is it still intact? Make specific items much more personalized. Yeah, exactly. It's still intact, but there's some damage to it. Maybe you could split it for parts. You do a weapons tech roll. You strip it for the part that you need. And it's like, okay, you can sell this little part. So it's the same as like making money. I think so. K Dolo, that's not what he said. He said they're not your friend. I agree with this. The GM shouldn't have any player character bias one way or the other. That's not what he said. That's what's fun about Dark Souls when you keep dying over and over. Yeah. Okay, so what he's saying, you're saying that's not what he said. He said they're not your friend. I agree with this. But they are your friend. They are your friends. That's not true. The Game Master is just there to adjudicate the rules, and you don't necessarily have to be the enemy of your players. The NPCs are the enemies of your players. You just have to act accordingly to what the NPCs would do. Okay, so if you have an NPC who's a ganger, then you do whatever that ganger is supposed to do. You just take over their philosophy. But you're not taking the philosophy. You're just throwing obstacles at them that are logical. Okay, you're throwing challenges at them, but that doesn't make you their enemy. Okay, that makes you the game master. You are creating the game. You're adjudicating the rules. If they're running away... See, this is the thing about... This is what game masters don't understand. They think that when their players make a mistake, that it automatically means that it needs to be punished. That's what an adversary would do. If you're an adversary against someone, they are your enemy, they are your opponent, you take advantage of their mistakes. That's what you do in combat. That's what any sport you think of, they do that. Okay, they have a weak side, especially like fighting sports, you know, mixed martial arts. Your opponent has a weak side, you go for the weak side. You've been kicking his leg for 4 rounds, You've just destroyed his mobility. You're taking advantage of the fact that now he doesn't have mobility. You can get around him and set up something else. That's your enemy, all right? That's your opponent. The players at your table are not your opponent, okay? They're your friends. You're telling a cooperative story together. If they're running away from all of your combat encounters, you need to figure out why that's happening, okay? Not try to figure out how you can punish them for running away. The consequences of them running away are there. Fixers will stop working with them. Fixers will not be inclined to work with them, or they'll do it for a cheaper price, or maybe they get the worst kind of fixers working with them. But even then, you still got to give them a way to overcome that. Just making the game spiral into an unfun mess just doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't seem like it's a fun thing to do. Okay? Other edge runners laugh at them. So now you're just ridiculing the players when, remember, I think we came to the conclusion that the players just don't know what they're supposed to do to upgrade their characters. They don't understand the game. Okay? If they're running away all the time, then they're like, "Oh, we got to pull the plug, dude. Like, this is bad. Something bad is happening." Okay? And that means they don't have the confidence in their power to be like, okay, I know something bad is happening right now, but we all got assault rifles, so, we're going to put the hurt on these bad guys in the next round. And it's going to be better. We're on the top of the initiative queue. Who's next? So the solo is next. Okay, well, the solo is probably going to take out that sniper. So even though one of our guys is critically injured, I know that our team is capable of taking out the bad guys. They don't have that knowledge. They don't have that. They're disconnected from that. So instead of trying to figure out how to punish them for not having knowledge, I think the best thing to do is to try to teach them what they need, figure out which characters are the weakest. I'll give you an example. When I was working with infinite-sided dice, we did that whole Christmas special. One of the characters in the group is an executive, and the executive is really good at persuasion, really good at social interactions, but is terrible at combat, okay? So when combat came around, they were just hiding, running away, not really trying to engage in combat, maybe trying to find like side quests to do during the combat or supportive things they can do. And there wasn't really much to do, If you can't handle yourself in combat in Cyberpunk, it sucks. It's not fun. That's what a lot of people find out when they're like, "Oh, I'll just keep a little pistol on me." Then they realize, well, the little pistol doesn't do anything, So what I ended up doing was I had a conversation with that player and their game master, because I was a guest and their game master was going to take over. And I told them, hey, there's like other skills that you can focus on that are not combat based that can help you, like tactics, a tactics skill. You can use that to survey the battleground, see what's going on, and give like bonus buffs to your other players, or learn about weak points, or learn about your terrain, stuff like that. Library search, learning about your enemy, their weaknesses, any kind of like police files you can read on like a criminal or something like that. You could find out information about them that you can use in real time in combat. Those are like the supportive things you can do. The player had no idea they could do all those things. They were like, "Oh, I didn't even know that this was even an option." Game Master hit me up and was like, "Hey, can we talk more about all that stuff you were talking about?" And now they have a plan. They have an idea of how they can make that character a little bit more able to help, a little bit more significant in combat. Instead of calling her a weenie and saying like, "It's your fault for not buying an assault rifle. I don't care if you're an exec. You have money, buy an assault rifle." She doesn't want an assault rifle. She doesn't want to be fighting in combat the way other people are. She wants to be in a supportive role. So, we could punish her and be like, "Well, too bad, you're playing the wrong game." Or we could try to find a way to educate her and maybe give her the information and empower her and support her into making the character that she wants to make. So that's my philosophy when it comes to the players, okay? What's going on right here in this game, that's what needs to happen with the game master. We need to connect with the players, we need to connect with the group, and we need to find out what it is that they want from this game. If they're running away from every combat encounter, then they're not feeling confident about winning combat encounters. That's why they're running away, in my opinion. So K Dolo, I get what you mean by not your friend doesn't mean your enemy. I just don't agree with that. Let's see here. The in-game universe should punish the PC's mistakes, not the GM himself. Yeah, that's consequences. And, punishment and consequences is not... The punishment is harsh. Consequences, they don't really have any emotion connected to them. It's just a fact of the matter, okay? If you're a bad plumber, people won't hire you. That's what it is. Just because an NPC is your player's enemy doesn't mean the GM should not set up scenarios for the PCs to overcome their situation. That's exactly what I'm saying. Making bad guys doesn't mean... You still have to set up a way for the PCs to be able to overcome them. Kyle says, maybe they need to check in with their players and make sure they still enjoy the game. Could be the case. Yeah, I agree. Yes, you shouldn't have a bias one way or the other, but the problem in the game is not that the players aren't upgrading, it's that they're failing jobs. That should have consequences, and they need to figure out how to stop, that. Yeah, well, they're failing jobs because they're running away because they don't have the upgrades to win combat encounters. So that's what it is. The game master has realized that the players are running away because they're not confident in their ability to win combat encounters. That's what it is. They're not upgrading their characters. I admit I've been super lenient with one of my PCs when he kept looting bodies. Now he's got almost 1,000 eddies and a dozen weapons. See, you got to remember, all those weapons weigh something, okay? Where is he putting them? I love having that encounter with my players. I'm like, all right, you guys are going into a nightclub. What are you bringing with you? And they're looking at their character sheet and they're like, well, my character sheet says I have 4 sniper rifles, an RPG, 13 grenades, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what, you're going to carry all that with you, dude? What, were you just going to put it on your back? And they're like, oh, yeah, you got a point. I guess I'll just bring my assault rifle and like 2 grenades. All right, well, are you going to hide them really well? Because assault rifles are not concealable, remember. I don't know how you're going to do that, but let's see. Then it's like, you gotta, that makes them realize that they can't just rely on items to get them through an encounter, because it's not always going to logically work. There's no bag of infinite holding, in Cyberpunk. That is true. They will need to overcome their bad reputation. Yep. I think that the players might need a GM sit down to talk about gear and rules and have the players hit up a good night market to get gear. I agree completely. I agree. What's up, Angel? Good to see you. They also should know, if they don't have a reputation, is also a stat, and they're in the negative, I reckon. Yeah, I mean, I think it's obvious that they know that their reputation is falling. I think you're conflating characters with players. Yes, the GM should help players. They shouldn't help characters. Why not? But I don't think this guy is calling the players weenies. I think he's saying the world will see the character as weenies. Your friends sound like weenies. I think he's saying they are weenies. Yeah, they're pretty big. LOL, yeah, they're pretty big. He stores them into another PC's home. Wait, what? Into another PC's home. So this idea that the GM shouldn't help characters, why? Why not? It's fun. It's fun to give them advice and push them in the right direction. It's a cooperative game. Why can't I help a character? Especially if the player doesn't know the knowledge that you know and you can give them advice, because it's not like you can't give them challenges anyway. Dude, one time my players asked for the most insane thing, and in my mind I'm like, I can't give them this insane thing. But then I realized the insane thing has insane consequences. So I'm like, okay, fine, you can have whatever you want, but how are you going to maintain it? How are you going to take care of it? Now everybody wants the thing that you want. People are looking at you like, hey, where'd you get that? You know what I mean? So you can always counter anything that a character throws at you. That's why it's not the point. That's not the point. You can win if you're trying to win against your players, or you're trying to win the game against the characters. It's a futile effort because you're going to win anyway. You could do whatever you want to win. You can drop a level 48 dragon on a party of level 1s, okay? And you won. They're all dead. Total party wipe. Okay, what did we gain here? What did we learn? Nothing. That's what I think. I wasn't recording this whole time. God damn it. Hold on. Start recording. There we go. Jesus. I wasn't recording. Yeah, so what's the point of killing all your players? I don't understand that. I just don't... I don't see how that helps them in any way. I don't see how that helps at all. But giving them advice and pushing them in the right direction, what's wrong with that? That's fun. Let's see here. He stores them in... he literally says your friends sound like weenies. Yeah. I have a question for the chat. Why is there such a stigma that with players taking items from individuals who are trying to kill them and likely injured them? Also, breaking weapons. How did it break? Okay, so there's no stigma against looting. It's just think about it logically, okay? You see a gunfight in front of you, and you kill a bunch of people. You go up to their bodies. You start, like, stripping them naked on the street, okay? In the middle of the street, you hear, like, women crying, babies crying. You hear police sirens coming, and you're just taking your time, like, stripping them and trying to find out what they have. It just doesn't seem logical to do that. You know what I mean? It just doesn't seem like that's something you would do in that encounter. Logically, I think you would be like, all right, adrenaline is pumping. We just got into a crazy gunfight. There's smoke. My eardrums are like, you know what I mean? And I hear police sirens. People are screaming. Let's just get the hell out of here. Okay, that's what you'd be thinking. Let's get the hell out of here. Forget about looting them. Maybe on the way, I'll grab that guy's cool katana that he had, but that's about it. I'm not going to sit there and try to go through his gear and rifle through it. If you have a situation where, you know, looting is safe and possible, then I understand. That's how you find intelligence on your enemy. You know what I mean? That's how you figure out how to deal with your enemy. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. Okay? I think it's totally fine. I'm going to go full screen here because we're just chatting now. So there isn't really the stigma is you wouldn't logically be looting bodies in a real situation like that all the time. There's a time and place to loot, and it's not all the time. And I think that's where the disconnect is. People think that you should just loot all the time. And also, breaking weapons, how did it break? You were in a gunfight with somebody, some of the bullets hit the weapons. A grenade blows up next to you, it hits the weapon, it destroys the weapon. Or it makes some of the components of it beyond repair. That kind of stuff can happen all the time. And also, the people that you're fighting against, they don't always have the best weapons. You know what I mean? They have hand-me-downs. They have used weapons. They have weapons that have like a little quirk. The bolt on this assault rifle gets stuck sometimes. You know what I mean? I ran out of lubrication, so I've been metal on metal for the last 2 months, you know? And now a player who has a pristine assault rifle picks this piece of shit up and goes like, okay, yeah, it's usable, but I need to do work on it to make it work. And I already have a good assault rifle that I take care of. So why do I need this junk? I guess I could sell it for a few eddies, but I got to carry it with me. I got to carry this thing with me and the other things with me. And the cops are coming. And I don't have time for this shit. Okay? So that's the idea. From D&D Pathfinder 2E CP Red, I am in the minority that me and my table... Wait, what the hell just happened? Why did it stop recording? Literally just stopped recording. That's weird. From D&D Pathfinder 2E CP Red, I am in the minority that me and my table love having a GM PC as a guiding hand and a voice. Hell, I crit myself in one of my last games. My players got mad not wanting her hurt. Yeah, that's always fun. The GM PC, you have to be very careful with that because a GM PC should never overshadow the players. They should instead be supporting the players. And you got to be very careful. They're not taking the limelight. They're not hogging the microphone. They're just throwing in information that you think will help the characters move in the direction that they need to resolve things. Because guess what? You might not be the best at making a story. You might not be the best at explaining what they're supposed to do. Maybe there's a disconnect between what you think the players would do and what they're actually going to do. So all you do is you're there in the room with them. Okay, that's what I mean about being cooperative. You're sitting in the room with them with that GM player character. It's like a GM NPC, but it's too many letters. But anyway, they're in the room with them. You're in the room with your players in real life, and you're in the room with your characters in the game. And that's basically what the GM PC does. My GM PCs always seem to die, which is fun. The GM should help players with their character. They shouldn't help the characters. They should be impartial arbiters. You know that listen, I don't agree with you. And that's the beauty of having your own opinion and everybody having their own opinions. Okay. I don't necessarily think that that's the way you should play. I've had dozens of hours, maybe hundreds of hours of playing Cyberpunk and other tabletop games. And, I think I know a thing or two, and in my opinion and in my experience, helping the characters is not a big deal. You shouldn't play the game for them. Don't make the decisions for them. Don't solve puzzles for them. Don't tell them who they're supposed to talk to. Don't tell them where they're supposed to go. Just give them information. That's it. You're not telling them what to do. You're just giving them information. You're already giving them information even when you're not helping them. So it's just another form of giving them information. Helping the characters by giving them information, there's nothing wrong with that, I don't think. Playing for them is different. Angel says, I like when my dungeon master makes me think critically or brings me back into the game's reality. Yeah, exactly. Set it up. Set it up so they can solve it on their own. There can be a disconnect. This has been said 100 times. You as a GM aren't working against the PCs. You're merely giving them fair obstacles to overcome. That's the thing, fair. If you're not cheering for their critical success. That's it. You're giving them an obstacle and you're like, man, I'm rooting for you guys to be able to get through this. And in fact, I'm rooting for you so much that I'll even give you some extra information to help you out. Because I really want you to be able to overcome this. I can't overcome it for you. You got to roll the dice. You got to make the decisions. You got to go path A or path B or path C. I can't tell you what path to take, but I can tell you what lies on each path. Okay? I can give you information about how long it took you to get to where you are, what the consequences of failure will be. And ultimately, the decision will have to be yours. Now, am I helping the characters by doing that? Of course. Of course I'm helping them. But am I winning the game for them? Am I telling them how to play? Not at all. Not at all. See you later, Kyle, if you're still here. Thank you. Well, you were withholding something from them. You shouldn't hurt them either. You should allow the world to do what the world will do. We both agree on that. I don't see how that's not helping the characters. You were withholding something from them. What am I withholding from them? I don't understand. The player told the player that he's crazy for looting bodies. Reminds me of Skyrim. The gun was jank to begin with. Exactly. Martin said, I had a problem some good sessions ago, and the PC had an ally NPC, and I rolled a crit fail on stealth for that NPC, and the problem player got super mad. Yeah, that can happen. What's up, Bronx? Lord Jesus, how are you? Cyrene VR, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. I always try to challenge my players and they challenge me. I've had to shred whole story arcs because of my players stopped it before it even started. Yeah. Be prepared to do that. That's going to happen. That's why I don't take it personally. If stuff like that happens, then it happens. What can you do? All right, let's get back to it. This next one, uses for the dance skill. Hello, my character is a rocker girl for whom it would be 100% in character to have maxed dance skill. I could lower it and put those points elsewhere, but I am committed to making fun choices over optimal choices. So I'm wondering if there are any clever uses for the dance skill outside of what appears to be a very specific performance skill from D&D 5e. Well, according to the book, you know, this is probably going to be one of these support skills. All right. This is going to be one of those skills that just sits there and doesn't really do any much for you. But it doesn't have to be that way, okay? If your life is dance and dance is life for your character, we're going once again back to the philosophy of how can we support the character instead of trying to punish them. How can we help them in what they need to do? What's up, Tricky? Good to see you, buddy. So the dance skill, what does it specifically do? You know what? Instead of guessing, why don't we get the book? Please hold. All right. I don't have my book on hand. I probably should have had my book on hand. I don't have my book on hand. Hold on 1 second. All right, I found it. All right, I found it. There we go. Let's look up dance. Okay? Let's look up dance together. Unless one of you has it in chat. That'll make it much easier. Also, it doesn't help, you know, we all know. Set your skills, page 81, skills. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. All right. Dance is a performance skill? No. Control skill? Body skill? Body skill. Here we go. All right. The skill of dancing at a professional level. It's a dexterity thing. All right. Sorry, that was not very. That was very anticlimactic. But basically, that's all the information that we get. All right. It is the skill of dancing at a professional level. Now, let me tell you about a boxer called Lomachenko. Okay. This guy is a current boxer right now. He's considered. Some of them call him the Matrix because of his movement, and it is stated about his history. He's Ukrainian as well, I believe. His father took him out of boxing for like 3 years and put him in traditional Ukrainian dance. Okay. And some would ask, why would someone do that? Why would they take their son who's been boxing for a lot of their life and then put them into traditional dance? Well, other than it being, you know, a traditional dance that is a part of their culture and I'm sure is very important to them, but that kind of movement and dancing has translated into their boxing skills. They have the footwork and the movement to be able to do things that they otherwise would not been able to do when in boxing alone. All right. Footwork and movement is very important in fighting. So as someone said in chat here, dance for evasion, strive. You mentioned that. I think that it's not a crazy idea at all, actually. And Lord Jesus says complementary skill for evasion, melee, unarmed, martial arts would be a good use. I would just replace one of those skills. Instead of using your melee, you're using your dance skill. Okay? Instead of using brawling, you're using your dance skill. And if you want to use your martial arts, you can make it a ×2 skill just for the sake of that player. Remember, we're using our philosophy to support the player. And if the player has a wacky idea like this, I think it's, first of all, it's style over substance. So it screams cyberpunk to be able to literally dance on your enemies. But also it's reminiscent of how our philosophy is of wanting to support the player. We just want to push them in the direction that they want to go into and make the character that they want. It's fun. All right. It's actually fun to do that. It reminds me of that Michael Jackson video game where you go around like hee-heeing and beating up bad guys. I think, was that on Sega or something like that? Something like that. I seen the arcade. You'd always use dance for a basis for martial arts or an explanation for a high evasion skill. Always free to reinterpret skills into other skills. Yeah. I want to stay. It's body. Yeah, body. Yeah. I want to stay longer, but got a delta. All right, Martin. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. If you want to reference those rules, complementary skills are on page 130. Oh, let's look at that. Thank you. See, I like that. Let's look at page 130. All right. Complementary skills are where the use of one skill directly affects the use of a subsequent skill. At the GM's discretion, a good roll in one skill, which can even be rolled by another character, may confer a +1 bonus. Yeah, so it's just a +1, so long as the complementary nature of the two skills makes sense. This +1 bonus only affects a subsequent attempt once, and complementary skill bonuses do not stack. So you can only attempt this once. +1 bonus only affects the subsequent attempt once. So, okay, I guess if you want it to be, balanced at the top of the round, you have them roll their dance, okay? And then when it's their turn, they have +1 to either evasion, melee, or martial arts. They get to pick one once, okay? And that's like their fun little narrative way of doing it and keeping it balanced. And it's actually rules as written. All right? That's rules as written. They do it at the beginning of the round. It gives them an extra... It's like a bonus skill. And it gives them a +1 to one of their skills during combat. Okay? Or we can homebrew and just replace one of those skills, brawling, martial arts, evasion, with dance. Okay, you just ask the player, like, what's your thing? Like, are you using martial arts with your dance, or what is it? Dance because it's cool. Yeah, exactly. Ukrainians have battle hopak dance, so there's that. It might be that. I'm not exactly sure, but I know Lomachenko studied dance. You can't make a fool of yourself in front of the input. Exactly. In ELO, is that Elder ELO dance? ELO, what's ELO? Anyway, something online, I guess. Dance as a social subject. Okay, it is called Combat Hopak on Wikipedia. Interesting. Maybe use it as a bonus to coordinate movement when using Sandevistan and stuff like that. The Moonwalker video game. That's right. Moonwalker on Sega. I knew somebody. Elflines Online. That's right. Lord Jesus. That's where I heard it. If I were a generous game master, I would give an IP discount to all other dex-based body movement skills. Don't worry, my dog's fine. My dog's fine. Okay. I would give an IP discount to all other dex-based body movement skills. I don't know if dance should replace evasion entirely, though. Probably up to the level of dance. Well, I mean, I would definitely tell the player that, you know, if you're putting any points in dance, you can't put any points in evasion, and it would just replace it, basically. Because what's the difference? You know what I mean? Like, the difference is that evasion doesn't give the people the ability to dance, but dance is such a, like, it's such a low stakes skill on its own. It doesn't really do anything other than make people at the table laugh. You know what I mean? So it's not super OP to just like bundle it into one, in my opinion. I don't think it's that big of a deal, really. They're basically, dance doesn't really add that great of a advantage if you lump it in with evasion, in my opinion. It actually just makes it cool. So Elfheim Online. yeah, I remember the Cyberpunk Elf game. All right, so there's that. That's the dance. Let's go. All right, here we go. This is like some kind of homebrew or something from The Journey is Mid. Random thought for a death save roll mechanic. Death saves are, in my opinion, honest opinion, the single most stressful roll in the game. There isn't really anything you can do to get a bonus to the roll, and if you fail, well, you know. I was listening to an actual play last week and a PC hit death saves, and you could feel the tension at the table. It was one roll, they passed, good job 70, and got stabilized the next round. But wow, I felt the stress too. I was sitting there and wondering if they were going to make it or not. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. Some groups like to roll that way, and to them I raise my theoretical cyber tumbler with a martini in it. Others, however, do not. I think this is even more prevalent among newcomers, and to them I offer this humble shower thought. How bad would it be to homebrew a rule that your character can burn 1 luck permanently to get a reroll on a death save? Okay. It would mean that a character would have a much better chance of surviving some near-death experiences, but couldn't last forever, even with an 8 luck character. It would give an additional reason to put points into luck at character creation, which I don't think is necessarily bad either. I have a thing with that. Anyway, one thing I like about this is that it gives a more death-averse newcomer a bit more padding. Though if they squander it and play fast and loose, they're still going to die. What do you think? I hate it. I'm sorry, Choom, but I hate it. Absolutely hate this, all right? The beginning paragraph is why death saves being the way they are is cool, okay? And that's what makes this game cool. And coming from 2020, where there was literally like 10 different ways to get your character deleted in one action, I think that Cyberpunk Red has way more rope for somebody to be able to save themselves, okay? You have SP11 everywhere, assault rifles everywhere, okay? Unless you're nerfing your players and making them use shitty gear and making them play hard mode, they have ways to get out of death. And it should feel that way. It should feel that way. It should feel like death is around the corner. And what does that do? If you take away the threat of death, okay? You take it away. What are you left with? You're left with players that do not fear any situation that would make them be in a death save situation, all right? You're putting your players in a position where fear has just poofed and is gone, okay? I don't think that's the way to do it, to be honest with you. I don't think getting the fear away from your players is a good idea, because they're just going to put themselves in all kinds of dumb situations because they're like, I'll be able to walk out of there. If they walk into a room and they're outnumbered 10-1, their character should die, okay? They should have to make death saves and their character should die. That's just the logic of it, in my opinion. If they get out by some miracle, then that's one thing. But giving them the padding necessary so they could get out of a situation like that ruins the game. For me, for all the people at the table. I like the idea of burning luck. You know what I mean? I like the idea, the mechanic of it, of losing it forever. And that way it's not a dump stat. But I've homebrewed my own thing with luck, where you roll a d10, and if you roll under your luck stat, then maybe something lucky happens to you. Like, for example, the most recent case, a player was trying to steal a car. They go into the car, and then they're like, oh, are there keys on the visor? You know what I mean? And I said, well, maybe if you're lucky. So they rolled luck. They happened to hit their luck, and it was like, luckily, the keys were left on the visor. You know what I mean? And they were able to steal the car without having to hotwire it. I think that worked out, you know? And luck is not a dump stat, okay? Luck has never been a dump stat. It is a stat that helps you get headshots, especially with the -8 modifier is insane, dude. That's a lot. That's huge. If +1 helps so much in Cyberpunk Red, -8 is insane. I honestly think it's too high, but you know, I didn't crunch the numbers. So I think because luck exists, it is so high. That's why it's -8, because people could literally dump, you know, 6 into their luck stat, and then it's just a -2 to headshot the most important boss in combat. And everybody can just do it. They're like, we all saved up our luck. Okay, we're here at the boss. Everybody shoot him in the head. He's dead. Okay? That's OP. So luck is not a dump stat, in my opinion. All right. Red is way too spongy. Tricky says, not neat idea, but not a huge fan either. Traveler has a similar optional rule. Oh, interesting. So it's a Traveler thing. Red is way too spongy, but on that note, my table does not like red a whole lot. Rules as written, you have to use it before the roll. Yeah. So often it is we use it and we have the DV we made the DV anyway, or we botch and never had a chance to start. Yeah, I get it. Sometimes I let my players use the luck stat after the fact. I promise you he's fine. Found a homebrew online. We can spend it after the roll or spend 4 luck to re-roll a whole roll. Okay. Yeah, after spending luck after the roll is one thing. Spending 4 luck to re-roll the whole thing. Actually, I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. I don't hate that at all. If you take away death saves, you might as well be playing D&D. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You can die in D&D too as well, but you're less likely to. Now, everyone does not dump luck, or I mean, don't like luck a whole lot. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Comments. Have you tried not getting to 0 HP? Yeah, have you tried not dying? I think that it would be a bit strong like that, even for a group that prefers player death to not be too much of a stake. It becomes pretty much removed as a risk. You have inspired an idea for something in a similar line of thought, though. Permanently lose luck point so that when you roll a nat, is it 10? New player. Yeah, it is 10. It doesn't auto kill you if the numerical result would be enough to pass. I guess. Basically, no, even then, I just don't think you should mess with the death save. I think the death save is just perfect the way that it is. If you mess with it, you're really messing with the entire game, in my opinion. I do like the idea of burning luck. I do like the idea of using 4 luck to reroll the whole roll. Those are fun things. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Recently, my player spent all 7 of his luck for an aim shot only to roll a 1 and implode. Yeah. 1 out of 10 chance for that to happen. That can happen. All right. Let's see here. Oh, this is a good one. Let's do this one. All right. You know what? Let me get some water. I'll be right back. Okay, guys? Give me 1 second. Okie dokie. I'm over here, dude. What is this thing doing? Look at me. Thank you. I am the subject. Uh-huh. There it goes. I got up for a second and just like moved around. Hold on. What's up, babe?
No, Timmy.
Oh.
Timmy.
Go, Timmy. Go. He doesn't want to go. Okay. Hold on. Wait, open it again?
Come on. Okay.
No, he doesn't want to go. Get the cactus water. All right. How do you do rumors as a game master? So I got this media on my campaign. I would very much like to plot progression stuff with, amongst other things, but I just don't have a clear idea as how to how detailed or vague I have to be about a rumor for it to work based on the DVs the book has for their rollability. Maybe this is me being an unimaginative scatterbrain, but I couldn't understand as to what would be considered too detailed or too vague based on the passive and active DVs they have for their rollability on rumors. Anyone here have suggestions or examples as to how they do rumors and how they describe their rumors based on the DV the media player manages to beat? Would very much appreciate the help on this regard, so I have an idea as to how vague or detailed I need to be when creating a rumor for them. All right. So this is a great question. Personally, I haven't had many medias in my group. I think I've had one media player in a one shot, and that was it. So I haven't really been able to delve deep into this role. But I do have some ideas. First off, let's go look at the book real quick and see exactly what their rollability is. Is it page 29 for the rollability? No, that's not what I'm looking at. Your friends. Where is the rollability? Lawman, exec. Oh, this isn't it. Net running, Friday Night Firefight, getting it done. If you guys can help me figure out where I need to look. This is one of the unfortunate parts of the book. Here we go. I found it. All right. Netrunner is a table favorite. We had 3 net runners at once during a game. Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love an all netrunner group. Okay, where did I miss it? Operator. Backup. Skills. Where are you, media? Operator, Moto. What the... Page 153. Credibility. Here we go. Here we go. All right, so credibility. Rumors. All right, medias are deeply... Here, let's go full screen. All right, media rollability, credibility. The media not only can convince an audience of what they publish, but also has a large audience, and the more credible they are. They also have great levels of access to sources and information. Medias are also in the know and pick up on rumors passively. So I guess based on your following is what your number is. So if you're at a roll 4, then you're up and coming, you're moving up, you're not just like a new person, you have an audience. It's not a large audience, but you actually have an audience. So medias are deeply plugged into info networks, assuming you aren't entirely off grid, at least twice per week. Okay, so that's the timeline. Twice per week, the game master will secretly roll your credibility rank plus 1d10. If the check beats any of the DVs on the rumor table, which we'll look at right now, passive column, the rumor table's passive column, the GM will clue the media in on the highest DV rumor which their check beat. Okay? These are the same rumors that a media might find by hitting the street during gameplay using their relevant information gathering skills like library search, conversation, and interrogation. So basically, you're giving your media a piece of information just for free. I mean, not for free. It's because they are credible in that sense. They have the rank, and you did a dice roll, and the dice roll went in their favor. So you're going to give them a piece of information. So when a media is actively looking for a rumor like this, they roll appropriate stat plus relevant skill plus 1d10 against the DV on the active column the GM has set for the rumor based on how detailed it is. Okay, so there's 2 components to what a media knows, okay? A media knows a passive rumor and they know an active rumor, okay? So they have a passive way of gaining a rumor and they have an active way. Passive is a rumor that just comes to them, okay? How does a rumor come to them? They have sources. They have people they talk to. They have a network. They have people on the inside. Either they're paying them, they're their lover, or they have some kind of trade deal going on with the person. But either way, they have a person that has information, and that information will somehow get to them, okay? That is passive. That you already did the work. The work has been done. Your network is created. Now you're passively gaining the information. So in order to do that passive check, it's your credibility rank plus 1d10. And so let's say your rank is a 4. I roll a d10. It's a 6. I got a 10. Okay? On a 10... Yeah?
Hey, can you check your phone when you get a chance?
Okay. Hold on 1 second, guys. All right, so with a 10, you have passed the DV of a typical rumor. Okay, a typical rumor is enough to know where to go next in an investigation. It contains enough information to get a passing glimpse at the supposed truth at the core of it. So you give your players a piece of information that is enough to know where to go next in an investigation. So the media gets a really good tip on where to go. Okay, this just came to them passively. Now, whenever your media is looking for rumors, so you guys are sitting at the table, you're playing, you're rolling dice, you just had a combat encounter or something like that, and the media will say, all right, I want to actively maybe look for some rumors here. So in that case, they roll their stat plus their relevant skill plus 1d10 against the DV of whatever's here. So let's say they're doing a library search. They went into the CityNet and they connected to it. They got connected to the police database and they're like, let's find out some information about this guy that we're going after. And they roll hot, okay? They rolled a 21, a 22. All right? That's a detailed rumor is coming their way now. A substantial rumor, but the rumor additionally contains information that, if verified, could become a piece of evidence the media can use in a story that they might publish about the supposed truth of the core of the rumor. Now, why is this important? If you get enough certifiable evidence, you can have an impact on the story. You can have an impact on all the things that are happening within the story, okay? You can change the game, all right? You no longer have to go into that Arasaka warehouse and start taking pictures and start killing ninjas. You've taken down Arasaka from the outside in, okay? They have lost all their good stuff. Later, Tricky, good to see you, buddy. They have lost all of their credibility. You destroyed them in the media. And now you're more well known. Sorry. So that's that. So how do you do rumors as a GM? I think rules as written, it's pretty good. So what's the question here? I would very much like to plot progression stuff. What would be considered too detailed or too vague based on the passive and active DVs for their role ability on rumors? Okay, so what this game master is asking is, how do I differentiate between all the different rumors, which are, going back to the book, a vague rumor, a typical rumor, a substantial rumor, or a detailed rumor, okay? Those are basically the 4 categories of a rumor. So why don't we work backwards, okay? Let's make a rumor. Or let's say, all right, Militech is poisoning the water system, okay? That's the thing that's happening, okay? A vague rumor is that people have seen military trucks around the water wells, but there's also a military base nearby, so it could be from the military base just driving around the area, all right? It's such a vague rumor. There's nothing substantial about it. The vehicles from the military base are, it's more likely that the vehicles came from the military base. It doesn't make sense to just connect them right away to some kind of crazy conspiracy. It's a vague rumor. It does look suspicious if you're investigating. You're like, yeah, maybe people will write it off, but as a media, I can't write off every rumor. I got to make sure that, this rumor leads to somewhere or a dead end. I got to figure it out. You know what I mean? A typical rumor about them poisoning the water system. Well, Militech has just lost a big contract with one of the state water companies, and now maybe this could be some kind of revenge, okay? It makes sense. They come up with the poisoning of the water system. They could blame the water company that was a part of it. So maybe it is some kind of conspiracy. That's a typical rumor, okay? It's still a rumor. It doesn't connect anything. It's a lot of hearsay. It's a lot of supposing and circumstantial stuff, but it's nothing. It's not even evidence. It's not even circumstantial evidence. It's just talking, okay? A substantial rumor, okay? A prominent Militech scientist blew the whistle on the operation, but if you look on social media, you'll say that, he had a psychotic break because he's been doing cocaine on the job, and that's why we had to fire him. You know what I mean? So it makes sense that he's out here spewing all this negativity about our company, because we did have to let him go because of his substance abuse. Okay, and we even have the drug test to prove that it happened. Okay, so you can make your own ideas with that. So as somebody who's looking up rumors, that's a substantial rumor. Yeah, Militech is trying to discredit them, but that in itself is something important. Militech is trying to discredit one of their employees, saying they have a drug test that shows that they were on cocaine during the job. They don't have any previous doing a library search, I find out they don't have any previous criminal background or anything like that, or any drug background. So this is a substantial rumor. All right, this is a substantial rumor coming from a pretty credible source, but once again, there is that area of doubt because of what Militech is doing. They have hard evidence showing like this guy is on drugs during the job, and they had to let him go. We've all had a disgruntled employee before, or heard of it, or we all know what it is. So that's a substantial rumor. Okay. Detailed rumor. All right. I feel like detailed rumor, you have them dead to rights. You have video evidence of Militech employees in the water system with, like some kind of briefcase that originated from a lab that creates some kind of bioweapon in Militech. All right. It's the same case that they use. All right, you can see it's a 1-for-1 copy. The same kind of container that they put their biological weapons in, that container can be seen in a Militech employee's hand near the waterway. Okay, maybe even around the waterway in an area they're not supposed to be. That is a detailed rumor. Okay, I have the detail of the carrying case that's in there. It's a 1-for-1 copy for something that can be substantially it's not just circumstantial, it's substantial evidence. It connects the two things really well. Now, why is it a detailed one? Because it tells you that little detail about where it comes from, where the case comes from, who's working on it, their uniforms, and them in an area. Now all the other rumors with the doctor and all the other stuff, all that stuff seems a little bit more plausible now that this circumstantial evidence, this detailed rumor has come along. So really, you want to take yourself out of the game. This is like a roundabout way of saying this, but you want to take yourself out of the game and just put the scenario in your mind and have kind of like a thought experiment with it and try to figure out how you can categorize the different rumors within your story in these 4 categories. So that's my advice. Sorry I went on and on there, chat. Let's see what you guys have to say. How does a 3 netrunner group... Oh, yeah. I have a player that is a media and went the Alex Jones route. It's pretty funny because he is peddling his product, Fix It All, regularly. Yeah, that's great. Alex Jones is a cyberpunk character. He's just so ridiculous. Let's see. I believe twice a week is a bit too often, says Mike the Button. It should be 2 times a month or something like that. Yeah, I think twice a week just is too often. You're right. Sometimes the weeks fly by and sometimes there are 1-day sessions. Yeah, I think you're right. But there's also times where my players in-game have, like, it's been only a week of in-game time, but we've been playing for like 3 months. So that can happen as well. So I guess you just got to play it by ear. You don't want your player to get freebies on how to like move the plot along, but you want it to feel like your media has an impact in the group. And if you didn't have a media, see, like if you don't have a medtech in your group, you feel it. If you don't have a netrunner in your group, you feel it. Okay. So you should feel like if you don't have a media in your group, it should feel like that. You should be giving stuff to the media that, you know, the players wouldn't have otherwise gotten. And sometimes that is access to sources. Okay. You're making up these NPC sources because they have to come from somewhere. So it's like you wouldn't have had that janitor that works in the top secret levels of Arasaka as a contact if you didn't have this media with you. You know what I mean? This media somehow has that contact. He's a janitor. He cleans up the computers, and then every now and then he puts a USB into the computer, does something, pulls it out, and you give him eddies. Okay? So that's a fun thing to do. My player got their assassination target fired from trauma team to kill him easier. As for rumors, I just a single rumor 3 times with varying details. Yeah, can be hard to come up with a rumor related to the main story on the spot, though. Yeah, on the spot it sucks. I would definitely just like, if you know you have a media player, just have this stuff like ready, and basically you could throw it at them. And I know it evolves, but you got to basically have something. You're right. You're absolutely right. It's hard to come up with it on the spot, but I think that's a good problem to have when if that means your players are so deep into the main story that you don't want to give something away, you know? But yeah, getting a target fired from trauma team to kill him easier, genius. That's like genius level media work, okay? That's really good stuff. That's what can make, you know, when people are like, oh, the media is not really that powerful of a role, I would say I disagree. You know, check out what you could do. You can fire somebody. And Mike the Mutton just became a member. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your support, Mike. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the insight as well. Lord Cheesus, and a rumor doesn't necessarily have to be true. It's on the players to sift through them and follow the right ones. Yeah, exactly. I would definitely give them a bad rumor. You know, if it's a vague rumor, you might give them 3 rumors and one of them is the truth and the other 2 are a lie. I've done that before. I think that's fun. Okay, quick hack. Alex says, but hey, John, what do you think about how much eddies you can give to your players in a balanced amount without them breaking the game? You know, I don't think that they can break the game. Even if they have all the best equipment and all the best items and all the best of the best of the best of the best, you can still easily kill their characters. So I don't think that there's anything that you can throw at them that will make them so impossible to beat. I do think that you need to just basically be careful how much you give them, because you don't want them to reach their level 20. You know, obviously we don't have levels in Cyberpunk Red, but comparing it to D&D, level 20 being the max level, a level 20 Cyberpunk character is somebody that spent a lot of IP and a lot of money to get to a place where they're really powerful at something, whether it's combat or social interactions or interrogation, running, jumping, whatever, you name it, explosives. That you want to make sure that you don't give them too much to get past that. So a good way to figure out how much money to give your characters is by going to the back of the book here. Okay? I'll find it. It's somewhere in the back. Not the character sheet. Black Dog? No, it's not Black Dog. Running Cyberpunk. Okay, here we go. No, these are net architectures. I'm looking for the gigs, guys. I'm looking for the gigs. Can you help me? I thought it was in the back. Here we go. Alright, so IP earned. Earning improvement points. Getting better. Here we go. Page 408 of the core rulebook. It gives you an idea of how your players can get better at the game. It even breaks them down into 4 different categories: socializers, warriors, explorers, and role players, and how you can give them the stuff that they need. I'm trying to find, there was a gig thing. There was a gig chart. A beat chart? A hustle chart. Here we go. That's what I was trying to find. The hustle chart. Okay. All right. So if you look at your hustle chart, this is what a player can earn within a week of using their role ability. Okay. So like, let's say a lawman. Okay. Here we go. Let's go lawman. The most money they can make a week doing the best that they can do at the role ability rank 8 to 10 is 600 eddies, okay? Either they took down a big gang and some of a civil seizure bonus, or they got a reward from a grateful citizen, or was it a bribe? And they made 600 eddies in a week, okay? So that's a week's worth of work in their profession. A gig, you got to look at a gig where you go do something is higher risk than what their job usually is. And the reason it's higher risk is because they have higher reward. So I would take a look at how much they make in a week, how much they make in a month, and have that inform you. So if they're the best of the best, 600 times 4, 2,400. They're making 2,400 eddies a week or a month, just from their profession. Okay. But if you present them with a job that they can get done in 3 days or 2 days or 4 days, a gig that just gets them their money, you can offer them 3,000 eddies or 2,500 eddies. And it's like, hey, it's your month's salary at the highest level that you can be, all because of this one gig. Okay. I think that's the most logical. That would make them want to go out and go outside of their original employment and try to do something out of the ordinary, because the risk is worth the reward. All right. The reward is worth the risk. I mean, so that's how I would do it. And whatever happens after that, you can deal with as a game master. Okay. If they do all these awesome gigs and they have like 10,000 eddies because they did 3 or 4 really amazing gigs and found some good opportunities to make money, that I wouldn't punish my players for that. I'm like, dude, you earned that fair and square. You know what I mean? You did a lot. Okay. You put your life on the line. You got critically injured. You could have died. Arasaka hates you now. Militech hates you now because of what you did. They're coming after you. So the consequences are everlasting. This 2,500 that you made, it'll be gone. You'll get a cyber arm, but Arasaka is going to still hate you. Okay. So the money is worth it though. You know, you're like, whatever. I have enemies. Enemies are enemies. You know, they're going to have to come and try to take me at the end of the day. Right. Over here in chat, we got my group main complaint the last campaign. It was they couldn't get amount of eddies to get the things they would love to get until the end of it. Yeah, so they're telling you, dude, give me more money. That's what they're telling you. Your players are telling you. You know, what do they need the money for is what I would try to find out. Maybe, you know, you can keep giving them the same amount of money, but reward them at the same time. All right. Mike says, hey, man, I appreciate you back. You guys were all I watched back when I was preparing my first game. Dude, I'm glad that I was able to help. That's awesome. Mike the Mutton says, I have a question as well. I have a problem with IP per session. An average session length is different with every group. 80 IP max is way too low for my group. Our latest session was 5 hours long. That's basically 2 to 3 average sessions. Yeah, I would say a 2-hour session, if they do really, really well, I give 60 to 80. And if they do, like, if they kill the final boss, I give them 100. But you're right. 5-hour session, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of stuff to get done. I would double it. I would give them like 120, 140. I think 80 is too low because a session, it modulates, you know, a 5-hour session is like 1.5 or 2 sessions, in my opinion. So I would definitely 1.5 or 2 times 80 is the max, you know? So if they kill the final boss, 5-hour session, everything went amazingly, you know, 160, 175. You know, I might even do 200 if it's like we finished our campaign, 200 Eddie or 200 IP, you know? So I think that's perfectly fine. It's cool. Might be something uncommonly practiced, but I don't say 1,000 EB each. I just say this job pays 10,000 EB and let them divide it. Often I found I do a few thousands over, so it's not even. See how they divide it. LOL. Yeah, I like that. I like that. That's also, you know, typically whenever you work with a contractor, you guys agree to a price and then the contractor figures out how to divvy it. So I think that's perfectly logical to do that. I'm here to plan my first game, having found you last night. Wow, I'm working on the first campaign now. Well, thanks for your support, Siroth, or Kiroth. Might have been the first one, but I really appreciate your support. I do. Thank you so much, and I hope that your first game goes really well. If you have any questions, the Discord is the way to go. Now, folks, before I leave, once again, I want to let you know, loadeddicegames.shop, okay? Collections, Cyberpunk. Here it is. Loadeddicegames.shop, collections, Cyberpunk 1. Head in there. Use the promo code JohnJohn. Promo code John. And you will get an additional discount. Oh, looks like somebody picked up that trauma. Oh, no, it's still there. An additional discount of 10% on these items that are already discounted, okay? They will ship it to you wherever you are. This is my local shop owned by my buddy, and he's doing this really cool deal for my audience. So please head on over to the website and buy some cool minis, because you know you want them, dude. It's the official Cyberpunk Red minis from Monster Fight Club, all right? And get them while they're there, because limited supplies, okay? Peter says, I saw the recent game with infinite-sided dice at Christmas. Any plans to do more actual plays with infinite-sided dice again soon? Yeah, of course. If they'll have me, I'll be there. So I loved working with them. That was really fun. Of course. As soon as they say, let's do something, I'm ready. We'll figure it out. All right. But that's it, Chooms. LoadedDiceGames.shop. Head over there, okay? Hey, Chooms, thank you so much for your support, for your love, for your questions, for everything that you do. Thank you for loving Cyberpunk. I love it too. And guess what? I love you, Choom. And I want to see you on the next one. All right? Thank you so much. Take care.